Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video I am going to be giving you a preview for the Liverpool West Ham game on Monday 8 o'clock kickoff at Anfield. Now I am going to predict a Liverpool win. I think Liverpool are going to win comfortably because Liverpool have got a fantastic record against West Ham, especially at Anfield. I don't think Liverpool have lost to West Ham in their last 7 meetings. Of course, the game early on in the season, was 2-0 to Liverpool, and the fixture at Anfield last season was 4-0 to Liverpool. So Liverpool are looking to extend their unbeaten run to 44 in the Premier League. Now, of course, West Ham, their club is in turmoil. They've got a lot of problems in that. Obviously, David Moyes is in his second spell with West Ham, of course. I think West Ham did make a mistake by getting rid of Manuel Pellegrini, of course. I think, Manuel Pellegrini just lasted, was it just over a year at West Ham? I think, they should have given him longer, really, because, taking into account Pellegrini, did win the title, when he was at Manchester City. So, West Ham have made a mistake by recommending David Moyes in again. Of course, David Moyes isn't a good manager, of course, before he was at West Ham. He's managed the likes of Sunderland, he's managed the likes of Real Sociedad, did really bad with them. Obviously, enjoyed like 9 or 10 months with Manchester United. Did enjoy a good 10 or 11 years with Everton, but I think that's the only club, that David Moyes has done well at. Of course, before he was at Everton, he was at Preston. So, West Ham did make a mistake in that aspect by recommending David Moyes in again. West Ham are facing a relegation battle. Realistically, West Ham could go down this season. Also, they've had quite a few injuries of West Ham. I think they've got Ryan Fredericks out. They've also got Yarmolenko out. And they've also got Jack Wilshere out. He's sustained a few injuries this season. Recently, Fabianski's just come back for them. Robert Snodgrass has just come back for them. So yeah, West Ham have had quite a few injuries this season. I think probably one of West Ham's best players is Declan Rice. I do rate that Declan Rice a lot. He is a good holding midfielder. Also, too, they've got Lanzini. I think Issa Diop is a pretty decent centre-half. I think West Ham did make their first signing under David Moyes. I think they got Jared Bowen, was it, if that's what his name is, from Hull. They did get him on the board, did West Ham, but, they could actually, go down this season, definitely. So, yeah, I think Liverpool are going to win this game comfortably. Like I mentioned, Liverpool haven't lost at Anfield now for almost 3 years. They haven't lost at Anfield. The last time they lost at Anfield, was back in 2017 to Crystal Palace 2-1. Liverpool, of course, have got 25 top-flight victories, so they've won 25 out of 26, and they have registered 76 points from 26 games. So Liverpool, of course, are breaking records. I think Liverpool this season are going to finish on minimum 100 points. I think they probably, are going to break Manchester City's record from a couple of years ago. So Liverpool are probably going to finish on more than 100 points. And I do believe, Liverpool are going to become the Invincibles this season. Obviously the only team to go undefeated so far in the Premier League era was Arsenal back in 2004, which is now around 16 years ago. But honestly, I do believe Liverpool are going to do it. Liverpool's last league defeat was to Manchester City last season. But Liverpool, are doing absolutely, fantastic. They are now one of the best teams in the world. Of course, Liverpool did lose their last game to Atletico Madrid in the last 16 of the Champions League. They lost by 1-0. Of course, Liverpool didn't register a single shot on target in that game against Atletico Madrid, surprisingly. I think that's the only second time since Jurgen Klopp got recommended in that Liverpool have failed to register a shot on target in the game. And I think Jurgen Klopp has managed around 251 games in all competitions for Liverpool and that. And now Jurgen Klopp is into his 5th season with Liverpool. But yeah, it was a goal from Saul Niguez. Obviously, it was definitely fortuitous, because it was Fabinho that made the mistake. And of course, it fell to Saul Niguez, and that was 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. Of course, Jordan Henderson came off injured in that game. I think Jordan Henderson is expected to be out until March, so he won't be involved tomorrow. I think Liverpool's best chances in the game against Atletico Madrid were Mohamed Salah and Jordan Henderson. Both of their shots were wide. Like I mentioned, Jurgen Klopp had been booked in the game for ranting and raving with the referee. But I do believe in the second leg against Atletico Madrid, it's going to be totally comparison to the first leg. Liverpool are going to win the second leg comfortably from my own perception, because Liverpool can quite easily, overcome a 1-goal deficit, And Liverpool are very, very good in the Champions League. They've got a very, very good pedigree in it. Liverpool have won the most Champions League out of the English clubs. Liverpool have won 6 Champions Leagues. They won it last season against Tottenham by 2-0. They progressed to the final the season before, but, did lose to Real Madrid by 3-1. But Liverpool won't be bothered, even if they don't win the Champions League. That's not their priority. Liverpool's priority is the Premier League, and Liverpool only need 5 wins now from their remaining 12 games, to clinch their first ever Premier League title. So they are going to end their 30-year drought, are Liverpool. They have won 18 Old First divisions, so when they do win it this season, it will be their 19th overall. So it means they'll be just 1 behind us, because, we're on 20, titles. But in terms of Premier Leagues, Liverpool will still be 12 behind us, because we're on 13 Premier League titles. We're on 13 Premier League titles and that. So yeah, I do believe Liverpool are going to win this game comfortably against West Ham. They did win their last league game against Norwich by 1-0. Again, wasn't the best of performances from Liverpool, but they did still get the win. Sadio Mane had come off the bench, to get that goal, and Liverpool did win the game by 1-0. And, Liverpool could win more than the Premier League this season. Don't forget they are still in the FA Cup. They did get past Shrewsbury in the 4th round replay. It's the first time they've progressed to the 5th round of the FA Cup under Jurgen Klopp. It'd be interesting to see how Jurgen Klopp approaches their game against Chelsea in the 5th round. But, Jurgen Klopp won't take that serious. I think he'll probably play some of the youngsters. He'll also play, some of the first teamers. He'll probably play a similar team to as he did do in the first match against Shrewsbury. But realistically, Chelsea will beat Liverpool in the FA Cup 5th round. But Liverpool have not won the FA Cup since 2006, which is around 14 years ago now and that. I do presume Jurgen Klopp probably will make some changes in this game against West Ham from their 1-0 defeat to Atletico Madrid and that. He will currently make some changes, definitely. Liverpool's only absentees now are, Nathaniel Klein and Shaqiri. Like I mentioned, the recent absentee is to be Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson has had a really, really good season with Liverpool. I won't nominate him as Player of the Year, but I think he's had a really, really good season for Liverpool. Liverpool have had a lot of injuries this season. Don't forget, recently Sadio Mane has just come back. Sadio Mane has been in very good form for Liverpool this season. Can create chances, can score goals. Same perception on Firmino. He's also enjoyed a very, very good season. And I do believe, they've been in much better form than Mohamed Salah. I think Mohamed Salah's a world-class player, but I think analysing him this season, he hasn't been clinical enough in front of goal. Take that into account. Fabinho's done well. He came back from injury not too long ago. Also, too, Chamberlain just come back. Joe Matip's just come back. Dejan Lovren's just come back. So Liverpool have had a lot of injuries this season, and, it hasn't affected them, but maybe with some teams it does affect. With Manchester City, for example, they've lost as many games this season in the Premier League than they have done in the last 2 seasons. They've had Sane out for the vast majority of this season. Raheem Sterling's out, one of their imperative players. Laporte's just come back. Benjamin Mendy's just come back. My club, Man United, have had injuries this season. That's affected us in a bad way. Chelsea have had injuries. It's affected them in a bad way and that. But Liverpool, it hasn't seemed to have affected them. Liverpool have only lost 3 games this season in all competitions. The only games they've lost was Napoli in the group stage. They lost to Villa in the Carabao Cup 5-0. And, they lost to Atletico Madrid last time out and that. But I still believe Liverpool are going to progress into the last day of the Champions League, definitely in that. They're going to progress into the last day. And, like I mentioned, Jurgen Klopp is the best manager that Liverpool have had in this generation. And like I've put into the equation before, Liverpool have had some fantastic managers over the years. But Jurgen Klopp's the best manager they've had in this generation. He's got a contract with Liverpool until 2024. I can definitely assure that he will see out his contract at Liverpool and probably, will go back to Germany more than likely. but he's done a really, really good job with Liverpool. But I think the other good managers Liverpool have had, Brendan Rodgers enjoyed one good season with them. And put into the equation, this Liverpool team now is the best team I've seen since they had the likes of Coutinho, Suarez and Sturridge under Brendan Rodgers' guidance. I thought Dalglish wasn't a good manager, but he was a good player. I don't think Roy Hodgson was too good for them. Obviously, they had Benitez, where they won the Champions League with him, I think, back in 2005. They had Gerard Houllier. At one point, they had Bob Paisley. They had Bill Shankly, was it, back in the 50s and 60s. So they've had some poor managers, and they've had some good managers over the years, have Liverpool, definitely. And Liverpool have won 3 major honours under Jurgen Klopp. The most recent one, the one was the Super Cup early on in the season. Oh, sorry, no, the FIFA Club World Cup early on in the season. They won the Super Cup against Chelsea early on in the season, and they won the Champions League at the end of last season. So when they win the Premier League this season, that will be Jurgen Klopp's 4th major honour as Liverpool manager. But like I said, with Jurgen Klopp, he's always had a style of play, and his style of play seems to have improved, since he arrived at Liverpool. But he still had a decent style of play when he was at Borussia Dortmund, did Jurgen Klopp. But that's this is it, isn't it? Do you think now, this is a quiz question, do you think Liverpool's team now is as good as the team we had back in 1999? When we did win the treble. So that is a really, really difficult question, to be quite honest with you. Very, very difficult question. I think, Liverpool are only one season wonders. I do actually, think that Liverpool are, gonna, win the league for at least the next couple of years. I think the main explanation why Liverpool, or one of the main explanations why Liverpool have blitzed the league this season, is because, a lot of teams have been very, very poor. City have not been as good this season as they have been in the 2 previous seasons. We haven't been so good. We're enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season ever, but yet we could still finish in the top 4 on the other hand. Chelsea haven't been so good. Arsenal have been poor. Tottenham have been very, very poor. So I think, a lot of teams have been very, 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 very poor this season, except Liverpool. So it's one of the main explanations why they are so far ahead. They're 22 points in front at the moment because City did beat Leicester. But Liverpool win this game against West Ham, there will be 25 points clear. So then that means they will only need 4 wins then, is it, from 11 games. But Liverpool were close to winning it last season because they finished on 97 points last season, did Liverpool, and they only lost it by a point. They came close back under the Brendan Rodgers era, definitely. But yeah, very, very good team. Of course, you've got Liverpool that are making plans for the summer transfer window because obviously, they do want to make more signings because obviously, they do want to continue this dominance up. Obviously, they made one signing in the January transfer window, and that was Takumi Minamino from Red Bull Salzburg for 7.25 million. Well, they got him before January, but he officially got announced at the beginning of January, Takumi Minamino. And I do believe he'll probably get more in the team next season. He really gets his opportunities in the cup games as Takumi Minamino and that. But yeah, I think he's the only player they signed in January. Realistically, Liverpool don't need any signings because they have addressed the deficiencies in the squad. They've spent around 460 odd million, since Jurgen Klopp got recommended in on recruiting new players in. But obviously, with the injuries they've had this season, they wanted to get some cover up for their injuries. But they are making plans for the summer. And Liverpool can definitely, get players to the elite level, reflecting on how good, they are. So we'll go through Liverpool's targets, Obviously, they've been in for that Timo Werner. Liverpool have been relentlessly linked with him for the last couple of months now. I was reading reports about Timo Werner the other day. And it did say that Liverpool want him, but they've got one element of concern about recommending him in. They won't be able to get Timo Werner in the team straight away. I think, for Timo Werner to get guaranteed football with Liverpool week in, week out, Liverpool would have to sell one of their attacking trio, Salah, Firmino or Mane, but I'm very sceptical that's going to happen this summer and that. But I think Timo Werner's interested in making a move to Liverpool. Julian Nagelsmann, who's the RB Leipzig manager, he came out and said, he's spoken about the speculation about Timo Werner. He's spoken to the player in person. But he basically said it would be more difficult for him at Liverpool than it is at RP Leipzig. He's done very, very well at RP Leipzig. I think now he's into his 4th season with them. Has 70 goals in 115 Bundesliga appearances, around 26 goals in all competitions this season. And I think he's got around a 50 million release clause as the player. So Liverpool would have to pay minimum £50 million for Timo Werner. But yeah, Liverpool are definitely not interested in the player. I think quite a few other clubs have expressed their interest, but he won't get in Liverpool's team, so I can't really see the point in him getting him in. Similar sort of situation with Jadon Sancho. How's he going to fit Liverpool's system? You know, he'd cost Liverpool a good £100 million because Borussia Dortmund have quoted that they want at least £100 million for Jadon Sancho. My club, Man United, in for him. Chelsea have also expressed their interest in Jadon Sancho. I think for my club to get him, we'd probably have to qualify for the Champions League to get Jadon Sancho on the board. Predominantly right winger, but can also play centrally. So say Liverpool were to get Werner and Jadon Sancho, that'd cost them, you know, around 170, 180 million pounds for them two players. And I don't think really Liverpool can afford it, you know, to get them in. They'd probably have to sell some of their players and generate some money for their, for the players, you know, that they do currently get rid of. Obviously, they've showed an interest in Jude Bellingham. He's another player. You know, don't forget they're also interested in Kaya Havertz. He's going to cost Liverpool over £100 million. I think he'd get in Liverpool's team, would Kaya Havertz, because I think Liverpool are going to get rid of a couple of their midfielders this summer, and Kaya Havertz is predominantly a midfielder. Up until this point, I've spent the entirety of his career with Bayer Leverkusen, so you know, he's another player on their agenda in that. But, you know, they are making plans for the summer. On the other hand, Liverpool, of course, are going to get rid of players. I definitely think they're going to get rid of Nathaniel Klein because Nathaniel Klein is too injury prone. You know, doesn't get in the team anywhere because Trent Alexander-Arnold is first choice ahead of him. You know, Liverpool have got quite a few former Southampton players in their team. They've got Klein, they've got Lovren. I think he's also another player that will be moved on in the summer. You know, they've got Virgil van Dijk, who of course is the best centre-half in the world. You know, they've got Mane there, you know, Lana. They've got quite a few former Southampton players. So they've done good business with Southampton in recent years of Liverpool. I do believe they'll get rid of Adam Lallana. I was reading reports and it did say he's set to leave on a free transfer is Adam Lallana. You know, Dick Origi, he's probably another player they'll get rid of. You know, he's had some good games as a Liverpool player. As Dick Origi in that. I think one of his best games, you know, was the Barcelona game last season when Liverpool did produce that miraculous comeback. I think Origi scored twice. And you don't forget about that game. Fantastic comeback. Liverpool in that game, I don't think had Salah Firmino, if I'm right, in the second leg against Barcelona, but they did overcome a 3-goal deficit. But Origi's a good backup. Same perception on Shaqiri. He's a good backup. You know, he's tends to make an impact from the bench, just Shaqiri, and I think he's another player, you know, that Liverpool will move on, definitely. You know, you've got Liverpool, you know, with the best centre-half in the world through Van Dijk. Won the PFA last year, reflect on his impressive performances. I think there was also a period as well where no player managed to dribble past him, so that just indicates how good he is. You know, they've got the best fullbacks in, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robinson. You know, they've got a lot of good midfielders. I do believe, from my own perception, Liverpool have got too many midfielders in their team. They've also got a lot of centre-halves. They've got Gomez, they've got Matip. Maybe Matip could be a player that could be moved on in the future, but probably not in the summer. You know, and, you know, Georgino Wijnaldum, you know, he's another player in that. So, like I said, you know, Liverpool have built a great club. They've also built a great squad, and this is one of the main explanations why they've been so good. But Liverpool have not spent nowhere near to the extent of, you know, what my club, Man United, have spent in the last 5 or 6 years. They've spent nowhere near to the extent of what Manchester City have spent, because City have also spent a lot of money. Like I mentioned on my recent videos, Manchester City have, you know, basically bought their success, you know, reflecting on the money that Pep Guardiola has invested in that team. City have got a small club mentality. They're not a big club, Manchester City. They've built a great squad. They've got a small fan base. And if, you know, if they hadn't spent all that money, and if Guardiola hadn't gone in to Manchester City, then probably, you know, City wouldn't have been as good, you know, as they have been, you know, in recent years. Obviously, they've got that ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. That's good news for Liverpool, and it's also good news for a lot of teams outside of the top four. But, Liverpool would be even more delighted if City were to get points deducted from them in the current Premier League and that. Liverpool have also got a good goalkeeper in Allinson. Forgot to mention him. He's a fantastic goalkeeper. He's Allinson. But Liverpool have not only got a good senior squad, they've also got a lot of good young players that are coming through. Like I mentioned, I like that Curtis Jones a lot. I like that Harvey Elliott. That Van der Beek had a good game against Shrewsbury. That Adam Lewis didn't do so bad. Who's the other ones they've got? They've got that Liam Miller who played against Shrewsbury. Larouche, don't really know much about him, to be quite honest. They've got Adrian as their second choice goalkeeper. But, Liverpool have got a lot of good young players, coming through, definitely in that. They've got a lot of good young players coming through. But yeah, revert back to what I said. I think they'll comfortably beat West Ham. I think West Ham did beat them once at Anfield 3-0, but I think it was a while back now. But West Ham have been very, very poor. There's a few teams facing a relegation battle. There's West Ham there. There's Watford now there. I think they're sitting, 19th. You've got Norwich, who are bottom of the league. So, yeah, there's quite a few teams that are facing a relegation battle, definitely in that. But like I mentioned, West Ham, they should have definitely not kept Pellegrini. Yes, they should have done. They have got some good players of West Ham, but, they're just basically, not good enough. At one point, they looked really, really good. I think, was it when they did have Sam Allardyce, West Ham and that. So, yeah, that's your preview for the game. And I think Jurgen Klopp will go with a 4-3-3, because Jurgen Klopp tends to go with that formation a lot. He's been going with that formation on a regular basis, because it suits their standards, does the 4-3-3. I think they've gone with the 4-2-3. Won a couple of times, probably they've tried 3 at the back before. But Liverpool look very expansive with that 4-3-3 formation, definitely in that. But, Liverpool have not overpaid for players. Like I've mentioned on my recent videos, they have not overpaid for players. They only paid 30-odd million for Salah. Look how much he's going to be worth now in this market at this day and age. He's going to be worth over 100 mil. He'll probably be worth over 100 mil in a couple of years' time if he's still at Liverpool. Mane, Liverpool got him for 30-odd million. He's worth a hell of a lot of money. Firmino, I can't remember how much they paid, but he's going to be worth a hell of a lot of money. Virgil van Dijk, 75 million, Liverpool's most expensive signing, or one of their most expensive signings. He's probably worth now double than 75 million, maybe even more. He could be even worth more than £150 million. Andrew Robertson, he's now worth more than £3 million, a hell of a lot more. So always spending big on players and getting them Galactico players doesn't always guarantee you success. With Liverpool, they play as a unit and they play as a team, and their football is very, very expansive. They can score good goals, they do create chances, and that is the difference. So, yeah, that's your preview for the Liverpool-West Ham game. I think Liverpool have also got Watford coming up. I think that's another game they're going to win in Liverpool. Obviously, they've got the second leg coming up against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. I think they're going to definitely beat them at Anfield. You saw my match reaction today, didn't you, for the Man United-Watford game? We beat Watford by 3-0. Very, very, delighted with the result. That's now back-to-back Premier League wins for Manchester United. Back-to-back clean sheets as well. Puts us up to 5th in the Premier League, and we are now only 3 points behind Chelsea. So, it does keep our top 4 ambitions alive. We are only 3 points behind Chelsea. Of course, like I mentioned, Solskjaer did make changes from the 1-1 draw against Club Brugge. Obviously, he made changes from the 1-1 draw against Brugge and that. Obviously, he did say that, Man United are going to make a lot of rotation, because we have got a busy period. In the game against Watford, we saw, obviously, Greenwood get a rare start in the Premier League because he seldom starts in the Premier League. Obviously, we saw, Fernandes and Fred start, of course. Modi and Igalo didn't start, and we questioned Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on that. So he did make quite a few changes. Obviously, Andres Pereira and Lingard were axed from the squad, and I think Solskjaer did explain the reason why they were axed from the squad. Bissaka also started, Daniel James started because they didn't play against Club Brugge and that. But, it was a good performance by Man United overall, except the first 20 minutes where we did look a bit shaky. But, prior to that, we did really, really well. Fernandes scored and, scored his first Premier League goal for Man United. Also got an assist in the game. Fernandes also got an assist against Chelsea. He's got 2 assists now and a goal at the moment. You know, he should have scored in the game against Chelsea when he hit the post, Bruno Fernandes. Solskjaer's actually, give his own perception on Fernandes. You know, he's very, very delighted with Bruno Fernandes. You know, he's basically, said, he's a mix between Paul Scholes and Veron. So basically, Solskjaer has said, Bruno Fernandes is the new Paul Scholes. He played in that number 10 because that's his predominant position. But Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. We paid £68 million. So as long as we keep in his predominant position, I am very, very happy because he plays as a holding midfielder. That's when Bruno Fernandes, could become a liability in that. But what a game he had. Daniel James played very, very well on that left-hand side. I think that's where you see the best of Daniel James on that left. I know he can play on the right, but I think he's better on the left. We have overplayed him this season, but he hasn't been so good in the last month. But I thought against Watford, he did really, really well. Mason Greenwood created some chances, so he could have had more than one goal today. Martial played really, really well. Solskjaer still probably believes that there's a lot of aspects of Martial's game that does need to improve, but 3 goals in his last 3 games, and he has been operating in that number 9. But I think when Aldina Garlo starts, that's when, we'll probably revert Anthony Martial back to the left-hand side because that's Martial's predominant position. More or less everyone put a shift in. Shaw did very, very well at left-back. Maguire did very, very well at the back. He scored his first Premier League goal against Chelsea. So I was, very, very delighted with him and that. But overall, it was a very, very good performance. There was controversy regarding, Watford's disallowed goal. VAR disallowed it, due to a handball from Dawson. I think actually, it was Troy Deeney that scored, but it was disallowed. Martial's second was unbelievable. Lovely little chip over Ben Foster. And the third one was from Mason Greenwood. The first one was from the spot from Bruno Fernandes. He got brought down by Ben Foster, and that was a stone wall penalty in that. But, I'm very, very delighted with the result, and hopefully, we can, now keep this momentum going. Club Brugge in the second leg coming up. I think we're going to win that because Solskjaer won't take any risks against Club Brugge in the second leg. And Everton next week is going to be a very, very difficult game. They did lose today, by the way, 3-2 to Arsenal, but, they still look a much better team under Carlo Ancelotti. And, that's going to be a very difficult game for Manchester United. We've obviously still got some injuries. Rashford could be out for the rest of the season. Solskjaer said, he's touch and go to play again for this before the end of the season. He's obviously got a back injury. We know Pogba, of course, is still out. I still expect him to play again for Manchester United, though. Paul Pogba before he does leave in the summer, but maybe he won't leave in the summer. If Solskjaer is to be sacked, then that could make Paul Pogba, stay at the club and extend his contract. Bay's just recently come back. He wasn't playing today. McTominay also came back into the team. Don't forget, he's just come back from a knee injury. He came on in the game. Ighalo came on in the game, so he's now made his Old Trafford debut, but has still not yet made his full debut for the football club. But yeah, it was a very, very good win for Manchester United and that. I think Tuanzebe is close to returning. Fosu Mensah is also stepping up his fitness regime, so hopefully we can keep this consistency up. If we can get European football this season and we can finish within the top 6, then there's a possible chance Solskjaer could be given another full season at Manchester United. But, we will see what happens and that. So, yeah, so that's everything to update you with today, guys. That's your Liverpool West Ham preview. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. Take care, God bless. See you all again very, very soon.